Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming Club. Without us, they wouldn't feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. So again, we're based out of Westchester, Pennsylvania, and if you're in the area, please do me a favor, look us up. Good gaming group, good bunch of guys, play anything, including Ninth Age, what I primarily play. But just a vast difference. It's more important for us to be having fun with our toys and just relaxing. So this last weekend, I actually went to a tournament, Battle Cry, down in Baltimore, and I had a blast. I had an absolute blast. There was over 30 people initially. I think it ended up being 30 on the dot, and two didn't come back the following day, so ended at 28. But it's like still 30 people participated, and it was just a blast. I couldn't say enough about the group of people who were there, the people from down south, the people from the Wargaming from the Balcony group. It was fantastic, and you know, and that's it. It definitely opened my eyes to definitely some of the other armies that I don't get to see very much, such as this upcoming game that I had. And at this point, I just got a 17-3, so we're up at table. We at table 2 or 3 at this point. I think we're sitting at table 2 right now, and it's so Battlecry is going to be Graham S and his Beast Herds army versus myself. So Beast Herds versus Dwarven Holds, and here's his list. As soon as my computer decides to work with me, here's his list. He's got the Beast Lord on a chariot. I don't know the difference between the chariots, honestly. He's got the Blessed Sword, the Bluffer's Helm. So I'm figuring he's T5. He's got probably 1-up armor. And I have no idea what Hunting Call does, but he's got the thing that turns around and says, oh, you pass Primal automatically. He's got his Chieftain in there. That's his BSB. And again, totems. Totems, and I'm a dwarf player, but here's the thing is, as a dwarf player, I usually only bring 3 spells. Here's like 4 spells being cast over and over. I'm like, hey, more power to you. I'm not one to say. However, I did learn an interesting rule that I did not know before, is that you can only have 1 totem spell on a unit. So I'm guessing that's something new. And that's it. He's got, well, I'll let you look at his list. Pause it, look at it. If you have any questions, let me know. Here's my list. Again, pause it, shoot me any questions, I'll let you know. And here's deployment. Actually, this is, I think, the end of his first turn. So we turn around, and it's diagonal deployment. It's capture the standard. So he picked, I believe, my 3 10-man units. Yeah, he picked my 3 10-man units as the units to go after, and he actually only had 3 scoring units. He had the Minotaurs, the Mongrel. Actually, he had 5. He had 2 ambushing units, the Mongrels and the Wild Horns. Now, granted, he still had those 2 ambushing units. I did not choose the ambushing units because, unfortunately, we were already like into turn 1, and I looked down, I'm like, we didn't choose our secondary objective units. Crap. So I wasn't going to say, oh, look, they came on the board, 10-man units. I'm picking them because you're supposed to choose at the end of deployment. It wouldn't have been right because, for all I know, he would have deployed them on the other side to save the points and prevent me from getting them. And just shouldn't be that way. So we decided that after the fact. Meanwhile, I actually he and I started placing unit, and I looked at the board. I said, I want second turn, and dropped the rest of my army. He just kind of looked at me and shrugged, And Graham was a really nice guy. I can't say enough about the guy. Just super, super nice. Very easygoing, laid back. He's like, I'm just getting back into it. I'm like, if this is him getting back into it, so that he's on table 2, damn. I mean, I don't want to know what he's like when he's fully into it, because I imagine he will start wrecking face. And so I gave him first turn. The reason why is he has Dark Rain. Dark Rain is going to really prevent my shooting. It's a -2 if I get first turns, -1 if I let him go first. So I figure I'd rather deal with the -1. He pops on his 2 ambushing units, like so. That's it. So he presses up. He's chaffing me up. He's got the Gortak, and whatever they are. So, and I'm going to apologize now that the number of pictures that I take during this game is less than the last game because when I'm playing Tuna, we're both YouTubers. We're both grabbing the cameras going click, click, click. And here it was like, I didn't want to stop the flow of the game, so I grabbed pictures when I could. So they came on, they have throwing weapons. He kills one of my dwarfs there because they have 4-up armor. The centaurs have throwing weapons, they kill one of my dwarves over there. And now it's my turn. Actually, we're going to skip my turn and go into his next turn. And I'm just going to go back a few pictures here. So this is the end of his movement phase. So what ends up happening is I end up charging the beast, the one Razor Tusk herd with the spears, the other Razor Tusk herd with the Deep Watch. They blow both of those things up, killing them. The Deep Watch overruns into the Gortak. Now here's the thing is, I hit the Gortak before I hit that impassable piece of terrain there in the middle. So I get to then declare a charge on the Gortak so that I can just simply move my bases there. And again, I moved the spears first so that I was able to, or actually I moved the Deep Watch first so I was able to get in everything I wanted. And because of where the king is, everything had Swift Stride. So we turn around, I hit them, I blow them up, I overrun in the Gortak. There's not enough room for his general to fit between the Gortak and that impassable piece of terrain. There just isn't enough room for the chariot base, so he can't hit my one unit with his general, and he doesn't just want to throw his BSB into that combat. So going back, so there's all the overruns, and I had charged into his centaurs and basically did a couple wounds each. This is his counter. So I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think I was really thinking the mongrels were going to go into the flank of the spears, and I should have. It was so obvious. It was absolutely obvious, and it completely escaped me. So great play by my opponent, and he also pops his magic banner, which gives them his wild horns +1 strength. So now they're strength 4 with paired weapons. Obviously they're striking before me. Yeah, and that's it. Again, Gortak versus Deep Watch, and he moves his other Gortak with the centaurs into that weak 10-man unit. He eats the unit. Did you expect anything different? It's 10 dwarves. Granted, they have shields. 10 dwarves versus Gortak. Honestly, there were about 4 left after the attacks from the centaurs and the Gortak, and then came the Thunderstomps. And the Thunderstomps said, I eat you now. He had to overrun with the Gortak, so that's how that looks. He didn't really move very far. This is, he ends up breaking my Spear Dwarves. My Spear Dwarves were still within 6 inches of my king, so they ran away using Swift Stride. They get away. He ends up going, I believe, into Junior over there. And then the Great Weapon he ends up running into Junior. Then the Great Weapons countercharge into the Mongrels. And after I killed the Gortak, I overran. And because I was able to position myself accordingly, I overran past that impeachable terrain right into his general. He turns around and he set it up so that he would be able to go into my side with that one unit because with his wild horns, which wasn't a bad idea. And let's see. So there's that combat. There's that combat. Now, unfortunately for him, I have reroll misses and -1 to hit going on. And does he try? So was this his turn? Yeah, this was his turn that I managed to turn around and do all this, because I ended up blowing him up. I kill his general, and then I killed his BSB. Oh, I'm sorry. There's Juniors over there. I completely forgot. I couldn't see Junior. So Junior, let's go back a few pictures. How did Junior do that? I have two Juniors and I can't see him anywhere on in this picture. Let's find him. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, boys. All right. Where is that silly guy? He's got to be somewhere behind that Gore-Tex. And I'm guessing he just doesn't care about him. Oh, you know what? That's why you can't see him. I'm sorry. I have a small picture up as I do these battle reports. So let me keep going back here. So there's Junior. Junior also charged into the flank of that. And I set him up in such a way he was going to end up running straight ahead and hitting that Gore-Tex. He ends up blowing up that one Gore-Tex, or being involved in that combat. And because I killed the Gore-Tex outright, I remember sitting there with. I won't lie, we were playing very sloppy in terms of where models were placed, but blowing that up, ended up hitting the general. I remember using a laser to make sure I was able to get around that piece of terrain when moving straight ahead. And so I killed the Gore-Tex during his turn. Sorry. And during my turn, I just, oh, you know what? So I killed it during his turn, and then I repositioned myself, and then I ran and did a double charge. So so Junior's going into his BSB, and I'm hitting his general, and because I have just enough room and I'm maximizing, the best that I could do is that after, so I do the general's combat first, and Junior's on the farthest corner of the BSB, so that after I'm done with his general, I'm going to overrun with my king's unit and then participate in that combat. And that's how we get to this point. So Junior overruns and pursues and catches his BSB. I killed his general outright, and then I put my Deep Watch into a horde formation. The reason I did this is I wanted the maximum number of attacks when he charges me. So here's how that looks. And if you notice, his centaurs are gone, and I didn't say much of it because I was more focused in on the combats and charges. His centaurs got shot off by an organ gun. And meanwhile, the reason why those mongrel raiders at the bottom of the screen there facing the organ gun still is not in the organ gun is I turn around and I chaffed him up using my engineer. So my engineer stood to shoot, didn't hit anything. Meanwhile, my runesmith is bouncing around. I'm not worried about shooting from his army. And my rangers over there are actually winning the combat against his wild horns. Even though they're both T4, they're both strength 3, I have armor and shield wall. He has nothing. So eventually, so there's that. And again, I'm whittling him down. He's now down to 3 models there. That's it. Over here, he kills 3. But meanwhile, that was a unit of 20. I didn't really do much when they charged in the flank of the spears. And I'm going to end up charging in with the spears because that one corner there, I can just fit the corners just for ranks to break them. And here's how the board looks. So my Deep Watch, turn around, win that combat after he charges in with the Wild Horns, eats that unit because I had hatred on that unit, and just catches them. During my turn, I do a reform. I break the mongrels. They run away from the spears. Junior and the 10 Great Weapon clan warriors are chasing after them. He rallies them, but the following turn, I end up charging them, and that's basically all she wrote. Here's that. And he finally turns around, and he breaks my my engineer. My engineer got him down to 3 wounds on that unit, and I rallied. He broke during his turn, and because he was down to 3 models, he missed my war machine. He pursued me, and he missed the war machine. I'm sorry. That sucks. Had you been 5 wide, it was yours, and you had it set up beautifully, but down to 3 models. That was it. And meanwhile, that Razor Tusk model there basically never rallied. I hit it early on in the flank with the great weapon troops, and it just fled. It lost combat. I don't think took a wound. It fled, 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 and then finally, I think it was this turn 6 rallies. Let's see. Turn around. I shoot the Gortak with my one remaining guy, and my marksman took no wounds from the flank, or took maybe one wound. I was steadfast because I had a rank, he didn't. I passed my leadership, and then I did a reform, and then I ate them the following turn. And as I said, my Rangers turned around and ate the 10. What were they? The 10 Wildhorn herd. So he's got his big unit of Minotaurs. I haven't said their name at all this game because they never saw combat. He put them behind his centaurs, and he has Gortek right there. I don't. I think because I turned around and I was aggressive early on, and blew through and hit the Gortak, and I had his other side held up in combat with a 10 unit of 10 warriors, that allowed my Deep Watch to then go back behind his lines, and he was going to try to get in combat with my Deep Watch with his Minotaurs. That actually is advantage to him with that combat, but he just couldn't swing him around, just couldn't get him around in time. Magic definitely saved my bacon a little bit by with the -1 hits, because when it came for the Mongol Raiders, he was hitting my junior on 5s, and Wildhorns was hitting junior on 5s. Meanwhile, Sade's junior from Gore-Tex. Somewhere back there, I have a Vengeance Seeker still lurking about. So I lost my 10-man unit. Yeah, that was it. That was it was a rough game for Beast Herds, but I gotta be honest. I obviously won, and I did lose one of the games here at the tournament. It's Foreshadow is going to be the next game I put up. But to me, this was the hardest game I played. Him and his opponent just kept me on my heels as a player. Okay, I sure things looked different as I blew through the pictures, but as a player, Beast Herds to me, as a playing my dwarves, is one of the hardest armies to play against. They are fast. Yeah, they don't have armor, but they hit you hard. They're monsters. They come up behind you. I'm a dwarf, so unless you're in front of me or at 45-degree angle, I'm very slow to get at you. And had Lady Luck gone his way a little bit more, we'd be talking a completely different game. So I can't say he played a bad game. His dice were not liking him this game. And that's all. That's it. So, Dwarven Hold, victory 20-0. It was the Beast Herds. The Mongrel Herd, I felt, because he turned around, he got the flank, it broke the spears. So honestly, the spears going up against his unit with paired weapons, even though that first round of combat, they're even keeled, advantage would still be to, in my mind, the spears, because the armor and the ward save. And for Dwarven Holds, the Deep Watch. Deep Watch turnaround took out his general, took out the BSB, took out the Wildhorns, took out Gortak, took out a Razor Tusk herd. They just marched over him. And that's it. That's all I got. Hope you enjoyed watching. I'm sorry for so little picks. Until next time, happy gaming.